The crack of a bat, the smell of the turf, fresh chalk lines under the Friday night lights, the hush of the crowd as two competitors face off on the mat. The whistle blows, the crowd cheers. So many memories wash over us as we think about sports and the place in our hearts where our sports heroes live.
Allie Reynolds, I thought, was such a great pitcher, and I always wanted his number, 22.
Well, my dad, his dream was to play in the major leagues as a catcher.
I was named after Mickey Mantle.
You see a guy named Mickey Mantle from Oklahoma playing on the New York Yankees, and you say, that guy's a teenager and playing with the Yankees. You know, that's impressive.
And Oklahoma has more than its share of superstar athletes, men and women who have stepped up from the red dirt playing fields of Oklahoma to become champions on a world stage.
I mean, guys like Mickey Mantle and Terry and Bud Wilkinson and all those guys, they were just my heroes from the time I was in junior high.
One of my earliest memories of somebody I really looked up to, probably Wayne Wells, you know, won the 1972 Olympics.
I didn't have to look too far. My idols were my brothers, Leroy and John Smith.
You had Campanella and the Dodgers, and you had the Yankees and Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle, and I couldn't wait to watch them every day.
I mean, I think we all want to not only celebrate these heroes, but I think in a lot of ways, it's a validation that hard work and sacrifice mean something. And in fact, the best asset that the Hall of Fame has are these stories.
This is where many of the stories come alive. The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame is home to the stories of Oklahoma's sports greats, a collection of Oklahoma-made inspiration.
Played on 7 pennant winners with the Yankees and got to play with some great players, Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, you know, several Hall of Famers.
It didn't happen right away, and it took a big load off of my shoulders. I finally did what he had been saying I could do, and the fans kind of, you know, the New York fans are great, but they can be pretty mean. And I was only 19 years old, and you know, I even called my dad and told him, I said, I don't think I can play ball, you know.
Moral is there's a thin line, you know, a lot of times between winning and losing.
And according to these Oklahoma legends, the thin line that makes a difference is hard work.
I played for my dad for 4 years. I started as a freshman. He'd always tell us, don't let anybody ever outwork you.
You know, like Coach Switzer said, you come to Oklahoma and we're going to make you a #1 draft choice. You're going to be an All-American. You're going to win championships.
And I am fortunate enough to say that we won 2 national championships, lost only 2 games my whole career, and I played for the illustrious Barry Switzer.
The stories we cherish are their memories.
Well, yeah, I remember my first win. It was at Pittsburgh. We went up Three Rivers Stadium. It doesn't exist anymore. We played Pittsburgh there, and we beat them pretty good.
When that referee blows that whistle and you step across that mat and shake that guy's hand, you're just not gonna let him beat you.
And Yutaki, that is quite an honor in itself for me to be inducted right next to Yujiro Yutaki, who is 2-time Olympic gold medal and considered one of the top 2 in the world.
Well, one thing I know is I love to wrestle.
The stories behind their glory amaze us all. And even our sports heroes are not immune to the overwhelming thrill when their accomplishments are thrust into the spotlight.
I mean, I participated in world championship teams. I played on with some of the greatest players in the history of baseball, well, the greatest team maybe in baseball. When I look back, I don't think it's possible. I mean, I really look back and said, I really do all that. Did it really happen?
You know, when you stand up there, it's almost overwhelming because you, I'm sorry, but it's over 30 years ago. But you hear the national anthem, and it's being played for you, and you know people are singing it at home and thinking about it. It's pretty profound. And at that point, it's an overwhelming sensation that how lucky am I to get to stand up here.
And all those people back in Binger and Caddo County that believed in me, that opened up the paper every day and wanted to see what Johnny Bench did.
and the fact that when we won, they all won. That was the best part of it.
Oklahoma mentors have molded many of our star athletes.
Coach Wilkinson was hands down the best coach I was ever around. If they don't score, they don't win. His goal was to go out and beat people 40-0. Not 40-7, 40-0.
When I was 6 years old, I went to Gallagher Hall up in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and watched my brother Leroy wrestle for the first time for Oklahoma State. And from that day on, that was a dream of mine, was to wrestle at Oklahoma State.
The most wonderful thing that ever happened to me was to be able to play and participate at the levels I played in at OU. Those guys have been my lifelong friends.
Little Joe Washington probably excited more people, more fans that ever watched an OU football game than any other player.
I went to San Diego, which was one of my childhood dreams, to play for them because, not of the team, but the great uniforms, lightning bolts on the helmet, lightning bolts on the pants, powder blue.
Little Joe would smoke through a keyhole.
Before the game and during the, right before I got into the game, you could hear this. How could they make this trade for Joe Washington? Lydell Mitchell has done everything for the Baltimore Colts. He's led them in receiving and rushing for the past 4 years. Joe Washington was a great player in college, but he's done absolutely nothing in the pros. So the fact that Howard put his good housekeeping seal of approval on me at the end by saying, I told you one of the greatest players of all time, hey, that was changing right there.
One visit to the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame will not only inspire, but the number and caliber of this state's athletes may also surprise you.
We have 175 distinguished members of the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame.
I grew up in Oklahoma, and most of the people in here, the closest I ever thought I'd get to any of these was having their baseball card in my bike spokes.
Of this state, to produce the number of athletes this state has in all sports is unbelievable. The talent that has come from this state, it's exceptional.
Those guys in that hall push that talent to the limit.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame is one of the top 5 sports museums in the country. You know, everything from the world's greatest athlete, Jim Thorpe, to people like Mickey Mantle and Ralph Terry in baseball and Johnny Bench.
And then gymnastics with Shannon Miller. And it's on and on and on. And not only do we have great athletes, Barry Sanders in football, Troy Aikman in football, we've just got such a rich tradition in the sport in Oklahoma.
And until you come in the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, you don't realize how darn many people have excelled in all kinds of sports.
Well, I think that, interestingly enough, only one time in the history of mankind have 2 college running backs overlapped in their careers and both ended up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. That's Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas. They're both in this Hall of Fame, and I had the privilege of coaching them.
The people that are here are just unbelievably great athletes and great people as well. So for me to be included in that group, I love it.
There are few places one can visit and see firsthand what separates winners from everyone else. The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame is one of those places.
But it all came down to one thing, and it was hard work.
And to me, sports is the ultimate meritocracy. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how connected your family is.
You go to work, you learn that there's a price to be paid to be successful.
The only way to win is to work hard and dedicate yourself to a goal.
I mean, the benefits of being an athlete in the sport and learning the discipline, learning how to win and lose.
Hard work combined with passion for your sport, that's an unbeatable combination.
You went out and played the game for the love of it.
But I started as a catcher, and I saw the beauty of a hard fastball coming in there, singing in there, and the guy catching it and hitting the corners, and curveball over the corner, changing speed, and It was a beautiful thing.
It's always a great game, and I'll enjoy it until the last pitch.
Experience the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame and the pride it brings to our state.
I think, when they first come through and they see Jim Thorpe and the success that he had, it's not just one sport in Oklahoma, it's every sport.
Sports has been a big part of why we take such pride in Oklahoma.
And find out there's so many famous people. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, football, wrestling, baseball.
We care because of the memories they gave us.
Well, it's humbling, of course, and the fact that, I've always been a fan, period. I'm a fan now. So to be able to be amidst all of, and I'm talking about the foundation of sports in the state of Oklahoma.
Hey, I'm from Oklahoma, and these are my people.
And for every name mentioned here, there are 10 more equally impressive athletes, coaches, champions, and legends whose stories live in the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame.
All of these people came from Oklahoma? How is that possible? And I think we owe it to the next generation to pass along these memories.
And you can actually walk in this facility and literally reach out and touch things and look at things and observe things.
I think when someone visits the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, they're going to be blown away by the number of great and familiar athletes that they see emblazoned in their memories.
It makes it real possible for the next person to be able to go, I can do this.
I remember in the first press conference, and people suggested, someday you're going to run out of people to enshrine. And I said, no, we won't. You watch.
When the athletes are turned out, it can serve as an inspiration, the possibility. If you can dream, go for it.